Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and what scares you is the question I want to ask. Now ladies and gentlemen, if you ask me what scares moi, it is in fact what's given me anxiety is beyond things like emergency alert systems, which amazingly if you've never seen them on YouTube, they're an entire treasure trove of content that you gotta be hitting up. But ladies and gentlemen, as I've looked at the back rooms and everything, my anxiety and the fear of liminal spaces has grown. It's both an anxiety and a fear, and something that gives me a lot of meditative relief, if you will. Now, if you don't know what a liminal space is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take you down a rabbit hole of wonder and joy. A liminal space comes from the Latin word limen, which basically means a threshold, a point and place in time where it's an entering or a beginning or a transitionary place between what is, the next plane, if you will, right? A place where all kinds of transformations exist, a place where human beings no-clip. Now, somebody that genuinely believes, the idea of simulation theories in a way, hey, look, if we can come up with artificial intelligence that one day is sentient, who's to say we're not AI? Who's to say we're not a giant game of The Sims running around in real time? To be honest with you, anything is a reality in today's day and age, okay? 100 years ago, there's a lot of shit that exists today that nobody would have believed coming, okay? So that's where I'm going to end it going. Now, for those of you who have never seen liminal spaces, there's entire boards that you can go down. For instance, here's r/liminal spaces. With about almost 500,000 members, it's filled with a bunch of people posting liminal actual spaces. So for instance, one of them is my dad's life as a security guard. Now, of course, this is a long, dark corridor with a few lights lighting up. I guess the best way to describe liminal spaces is they're really minimalistic. They don't really have a whole lot of furniture, if you will. They're long, dark, and eerie. I'm sure at some point, all of us have experienced this, okay? Hey, listen, I've walked out at 1 in the morning too many times coming home from work, and nobody else is on the street but me. That, in a way, is a liminal space. I guess another comparison is a game that I played on my channel, LSD Dream Emulator, is all about the idea of liminal spaces. Just you alone in areas that are open, expansive, and just dead. The only actual interaction you may have sometimes are weird entities or the gray man, or whatever you might see. I guess it's kind of like, the back rooms, right? They have like 999 rooms, and most of them are empty, except for you and really, really spooky entities. I guess the other way is, it kind of reminds me of SCPs in a way too. But of course, the more and more you go down, there's underground concourses with nobody there. This is actually in Canada, because if you look over there, that's RBC. That's one of our banks. This is a Canadian liminal space too. But of course, some people take Blender, Unreal Engine, and actually build their own liminal spaces. I'm not a huge fan of the ones that are just encased in water, if you will. This one looks a little too fake to me. This one looks a little too anti-chamber, if you will. So again, these are some of this. I like the ones that are grounded in spooky reality. Like this one, for instance. This literally looks like this is an actual place at somebody's university where it's got that rustic, almost like chalky charm to a lot of the walls, and there's nobody there. There's nothing in there. You could scream in this area, and all you'd hear is echoes till the end. And of course, some of the CG stuff is really good. Like, this is an actual CG image somebody made too, where it's a complete just walkway in the expanse of nothingness. Of course, over here, you can actually start to see, like, more of the CG nature. But yeah, getting lost in a place like this can be both terrifying and almost relaxing, okay? I don't know what's going on over here, but this is like a little water closet, a little bathroom, if you will, where they got one hand dryer, a soap dispenser, and just an expanse of nothingness above. This almost looks like it's complete CGI as well, too. That is what I like to say is a realistic liminal space. We've all been places like this. If you ever walked late at night out of somewhere where nobody else is there but you and the spooky ghost that's tracking you down, this is an actual spooky liminal space. You know what? Every time you have a foggy, rainy night, that, ladies and gentlemen, can be a liminal space. I've had some in my own experiences. I've been to places which are absolutely like that. I'll throw a few photos up there of my experience with some of my own personal favorite, personal liminal spaces. This is the actual scary one too. So here's like where somebody posted like an empty city, and like this is exactly what I'm talking about when you're walking around late at night, except this is when the sun is open. You expect to see at least one human being, one vehicle there. This is like 28 days later shit, okay? Look at how empty this goddamn city is. There's nobody to experience. This, I might have to believe, is Photoshop CGI, because I don't believe you could actually land photos like this in a city this goddamn empty. This is literally end of the world scenario. And I guess that's where I'm in right now, okay? I constantly think of, like, end-of-the-world stuff lately. I know it's really grim, but that's kind of where I'm at, okay? That's the kind of stuff that I always spend all night looking at. There's actually something really interesting I like to watch on YouTube. This is actually a video from one of my favorite channels, Silent Rob. He's been around for a long time. You know, his channel is actually called Face Destroy Incorporated. But he made a video where he titled The Deadest Mall in America. He actually made like 2 of these videos. And this is one example of something that I'm super into, is watching like abandoned malls, abandoned locations. So here he is actually walking around in an abandoned mall in like, I believe this is like Ohio. So again, malls used to be a big thing, all right? Especially around the world, all right? Malls used to be a huge thing as a kid growing up. But of course, you know, when online shopping came into the advent, when everything else started jumping in, having a mall and function was just not going to happen. A lot of these places went defunct, and while the malls are still up there, very few shops are actually still paying rent and actually have like any form of business. Like, you can see how eerie it is just walking around the establishment. Some of the chairs are still there. It's almost like the entire world just went missing. Some like real Ghostwire Tokyo shit. The world completely went missing out of nowhere, and that's generally the idea you get out of it, right? Like, some of the signs are still up there, the windows are still actually intact, and they only have one human being walking through the area. And it's also like super clean too. This is the ideal liminality. It's like super clean. There's like everything is intact. It's literally as if the human beings completely disappeared. And they have like one store that's active, a video game store that probably is going to be shut down, you know, months down the line, because really, you know, it's one of the only stores that's actually ever left. Yeah, check his channel out. That's a good example of liminality. Of course, there's entire 4chan threads too. Like way back in 2019, the idea of liminality became something. And of course, you know, the backrooms is just one thing. It basically got like huge in terms of creepypastas and TikTok. But the idea of liminality has been around for a long time. And there's been a lot of people just sharing it. And it's actually more deeper than things like waffle houses and truck stops. One of the posts on the old Chan boards was, "It's simply the spaces that cause the strangest of feelings in people. Laundromats, waffle houses, truck stops, gas stations, and other places lit by fluorescent lighting. The uncanny feeling that one gets when one sees such spaces is quite incredible. I honestly think it might be related to the feeling of empty rooms. I just don't like that the backrooms meme has become a meme and now people think it's a Zoomer thing. We need to change that and okay, all right, a little gatekeeping on the side of V, on the side of X, if you will, sorry, paranormal. But yeah, this is one good example too, right? Like, look at this little laundromat. This is the aesthetic people are talking about. That fluorescent lighting always has to be there. Maybe one person and the rest of the world is just gone and missing. It's literally being detached from a plane of existence that everyone lives in, all right? This person actually says it really well. Like, when you're interacting with a liminal space, you're quite literally standing on the threshold between 2 realities. For example, a rest stop on the highway is designed to be just that, a rest stop between your place of departure and your destination. Those areas are not meant for you to stay in very long. In this case, your realities are your place of origin and your destination, while the threshold is the journey, the rest stop included. It's almost like you're in like purgatory, you know? Like when you die, you're supposed to go to purgatory before all human beings are sent to like hell or heaven during Judgment Day. It literally just feels like purgatory. And in a way, it scares the hell out of me. Like, sometimes I wonder, like, am I ever lost in a situation that is detached from reality? Like, am I actually in purgatory? But at the same time, being completely alone and to your own thoughts while you're walking through a foggy night is its own level of meditation. It's a weird situation that gives you both fear, anxiety, and relaxation. It's really a weird feeling that I'm trying to pin down. And I've been feeling it for like a year ever since I've been getting into this. I like this shot a lot too. Another element of a liminal space too. This is a Shell gas station. I'm sure anybody that's been on long road trips, you know, like if you ever drove from like city to city, you've been in this situation at night. You've been at a gas station, not at a Shell that has like the S missing so it looks like hell, but we've all been in a place where it's only one car, just us, and we're paying for gas. Here's somebody that used to skateboard late at night, and this is a liminal space vibe that they get. Even though there's actually cars driving around, I think the repetition of lighting over here just adds to it. There's like, it's always night, it's always that weird fluorescent halogen lighting, and it's always like repeated like lighting like this. It just feels like you're in this transitionary place. This alone is not something you should walk down a pathway like this. I don't know why Anon is walking down a place like this. I'll be real, at 2 in the morning, this is a place where even with all the lighting, it's definitely a place you get stabbed at, for sure. This is the vibe I'm talking about when it comes to a city. Like, even in the distance, everything is living out there. And here, in, like, the suburbs of, like, Tokyo, or suburbs of, like, a Japanese city, there's nobody walking around. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the vibe that I got walking around late at night in the suburb regions of Japan, or really anywhere in the world. Like, if you ever actually walked around to Detroit at, like, 1 in the morning, don't ever do it, because Detroit's it's a sketchy place, but that's, again, the vibe, too. That liminal feeling, that point of transitionary space. This is definitely a place you don't want to be in, because this is not a liminal space. This is a crackhead raid boss dungeon, okay? This is where you're definitely, like, getting stabbed. This is like a 99% chance to getting... If you get stabbed in a place like this, it's basically your fault. Alright, if things don't work, there's also other games like, you know, the Haunted Cities, which might be more, like, relative. So here you can see the actual liminal spaces going on when it comes to, like, these various games. It's an entire collaboration. Again, we'll just open up one of them. So here I got one, like, 2560 by 1440. Let's go windowed, and let's fire that shit up, chief. No escapes, no escapes. This is the perfect example of liminal spaces, man. Like, you got a PS1 vibe over here. I mean, look at that. Even the textures are all... It's like Sad Satan PS1. Dude, the textures are escaping into, like, the video game anus. But, of course, as we're walking around, I'm sure I'm gonna get... Like, this is definitely where you get stabbed, for sure. This is, like, where you get Screamer City. And, of course, in the distance, you've got, like, lighting and everything. Like, just a green light in amongst this darkened city. This is, like, a weirdly good-looking PS1 aesthetic game. But yeah, this is an example of what I consider to be, like, liminality, like liminal spaces. Being lost in a place like this. You got, like, a one car, and you got, like, a bubble, the dirty bubble. Oh! Ugly little hamlet, is it? Kind of place where everyone knows everything about everyone else's business. Okay. Oh shit, everything went dark. Whoa, what is that? Jesus. It's such a weird graphical style, man. Even when it comes to, like, Minecraft, there are mods known as the corners, which allow you to explore liminal spaces in Minecraft. Again, you know, trying to run Minecraft mods is its own hellhole. This I got running on version 1.18, and it took me a little bit getting going because there were a lot of crashes. Minecraft is not the most stable of games out there. Frankly, I just play Minecraft for survival and, like, just like, engineering mods, but this is one of those mods that you kind of got to try if you enjoy liminality and stuff. So here it is, look at that Minecraft, and I think I might have to turn the shaders off, but you actually put up one of these paintings, and this is a painting to liminality, so you just light this up with the actual, what is this? Oh, I came back to the actual area. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Put a painting, not a creeper, not a spoiler, not a creeper again. That's not the painting. That's not it. That's not it. Jeez, there's a lot of shitty paintings in Minecraft. That's the painting we're talking about. So light that shit up and go into it. And here it is. We're in liminal hell. And of course, the actual world isn't rendering properly, so I'm gonna have to turn off the shaders, actually. So video settings, shader packs, disable, apply. Hit done. And here it is. So of course there's like graphical errors going on, but you know, it is one of these mods. It's tough to get them working, but this is an example of like backrooms areas. And of course, even though there's nothing hunting you down, there's no SCP, none of that shit. This is the kind of big fear that I have too, is like, if you ever get lost in a place like this, there literally isn't an escape. You can go through billions and billions of rooms, and while each room is unique, because that is like a staple of some of these like backroom, like liminal space creepypastas and like horror pieces, the actual escape isn't there. Once you no-clip in, it's incredibly difficult to no-clip out. And listen, like I'm tying it back to the beginning of the video, I believe in shit like simulation theories, okay? Sometimes I think the world is basically just a giant game of The Sims. And what is ever stopping us from being stuck in complete liminality? Like, I've seen this painting a million times. I'm actually stuck in fucking hell. Sometimes I think this is what hell is about, man. Like, this is actually hell. Look at that, there's like, wait, what is this? Oh, there's actually food out here. See, like, sometimes in the actual place you can find food and some survival tactics. Other than that, I don't know. I'm lost. Like, if you're actually to get lost in a place like this, I think it'd all be over. Like, it would probably take you, like, a few hours before, like, madness would eventually start settling in. And God forbid you actually hear something, okay? God forbid, like, something actually is chasing you. That's another fear. I wonder if you can escape this mod in creative mode. Oh man, maybe there is. Oh shit, there is. Yeah, even if you escape, this is where you escape to, guys. You can't even no-clip out of here. It's just all hell. But you know what? That's a timeout, because in reality land, so far, I can no-clip. Thankfully, that was just a virtual world we were exploring. Maybe the current world we live in is virtual. I'm not going to really jump into all that. I'm not going to jump into that conspiracy. That's something for a different time. But to escape liminality is something that we could have done, thankfully, because everything was entirely in a computer. But ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to show you something that brought me great anxiety and also relief. I have no idea how to describe that feeling, the feeling of being scared of something, but also kind of enjoying and embracing it. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to take you down on a trip of liminality, and frankly, even though we just kind of dipped our toe into it, I definitely want to cover this topic more and more in the future. I think really a really focal point of my channel going on for the next few months is really talking about like end of the world, like conspiracy stuff like that. I've been reading a lot of Exit Monday, a lot of the backroom stuff, a lot of really scary args, creepypastas, and entire theories about the world. And you know what? It's something that's absolutely been grabbing me. I think some of you might have noticed ever since I was looking at emergency alert systems, this is kind of where my brain is. It's kind of morbid, it's kind of freaky, but there is something kind of enamoring. There is something kind of interesting about the unknown. And frankly, I want to like dip my toe into a bit of that, but frankly, that's where I'm going to end it at, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think about liminality, liminal spaces, and your experience with a liminal space. Do you feel that at some point you no-clipped out of reality and experienced the place in between? I know I kind of have. Maybe I haven't seen it like straight up, but I definitely had that feeling. Few too many times in my life. That said, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. The sun's coming up. I'm out of G Fuel in that cup. And that being said, this is me, Muda, and I am